Okay. How's everyone doing today? Woohoo! Beta day! So much fun. Mr. Workman's in the house. The important Mr. Workman. The OG Workman. Mr. Cole, thanks for coming in. Wolf, howdy. Been seeing a lot of the photos you've been posting on Instagram, I think it was. Yeah. Great job as always. Love your photos. If anyone, go find Wolf Adamite on Instagram or find his website and love his photos because they are amazing. And you can thank, actually, since we're talking about Total CMS today, you can thank Wolf for a lot of the features on the image side of Total CMS 3. I've been talking to him for years, and he's been telling me all the things he wished he had for years, and it finally is a reality. So I guess good things come to those who wait, right, Wolf? So sorry it took me so long. Sean from London. You're in London today? Oh boy, they allow you in London? Man, I don't know about that. Ryan, thanks for popping in. Mr. Burden. Okay. Hopefully I'll maybe at the end we can try to replicate that issue that you've been having with the tags in the current beta. So I can get that fixed. Maybe we'll get an emergency beta 12 out. Okay. So Total CMS 3 beta 11 shipped yesterday. Quick note, it does not have a lot of what I originally planned beta 11 to have. And that's purely because I did a lot and I wanted to simply get it out there to you guys, right? So adding all of the file download APIs and getting the file, upload utilities, it's a lot. There was a lot of changes. I actually modified the collection schema so that we actually have some new fields in collections, or a new field. Anyhow, we'll review all of that today. So it just seemed, and I had a laundry list of other small little bug fixes all around the place that I fixed. And so, yeah, I thought it was a good thing to get it out there so you guys can, get those other bug fixes and maybe start playing around with file and uploads and downloads and all that jazz, so that as I work on depot and style text image uploads, you guys can find some bugs that I can then get fixed in beta 12, right? So yeah, beta 12. Well, based on today, I may release an emergency beta 12 that is some bug fixes. It looks like Ben and Bill have found some issues with tags or whatnot that I would like to fix if I can replicate it today. And I might get an emergency beta 12 out, which means beta 13 would have the depot and whatever, right? But okay, but I digress. David, how's it going, bud? Thanks for popping in. Okay, without further ado, here, let me go ahead and let's share the screen, and then we'll bring up the release notes here. Okay. If you didn't know, Ben posted a wish list today. Ben, I don't know if you're here. Hopefully you are. Hi, Ben. You said here that you had the day off today, so hopefully you're able to join us. Wish I got a cup of water before I came here, though. Okay. Mr. Scott Pam. I don't know if Scott Pam, if you're here, but I just got a text saying that my coffee that you got me is on the way. Nice. Scott Pam was nice and sent me a little gift of some espresso beans. So so we can get Total CMS done even faster, right? So anyway, Martin, thanks for popping in. Martin, dude, before I get going here, I'm so sorry about SiteGround. If any of you here are on SiteGround, the hosting company, he's just had a heck of a time with them actually blocking Total CMS API requests on all of his websites. I wish there was something I could do, but unfortunately they blocked it. So yeah, any API call, so saving data, retrieving data in the admin area. Luckily, for the most part, I think all of the content side of the site should still work, but the admin area is definitely an issue. So sorry about that, Martin. Hopefully yeah, I know they kind of have a thing where you can get a fix on a site per site basis by excluding this rule that they added. Seems quite ridiculous though. Anyway, so there is a thread on the community if any of you guys want to see somewhere in here. Here, let's sort by updated because I know it was posted earlier. It was updated earlier today. Somewhere here it is, right? So Easy CMS and Total CMS's admin areas weren't really working. So if you're on SiteGround, there's quite a few users here that are. I wish I could help you out. Okay, but let's go on to some. Let's go on to some greener pastures here. Beta 11. Let's have a look at the release notes. Hey, I'm gonna plop these just up on the side here. I'm gonna move those to my other display so I just have them here. Oh, let's not cover the chat so I can still see the chat. Okay. We're actually gonna do a lot of this today. Actually, I kind of need them in. I need to open up my browser. So let's go and all right, let's just bring in. Okay. Let's go ahead and actually I'm gonna bring up just a little test page that I had just so we can have a look at all the focus just on what we need. Okay. Actually, I was playing around. Icon, if you upload an Excel spreadsheet, I noticed the icon doesn't work, so that'll be a bug. So here, let's upload a different file. So actually, I haven't uploaded an EPUB yet. Let's see, verify that. Oh, EPUB files don't work either. Damn it. Okay, it's probably the same bug as Excel spreadsheet. I'll just upload an image there. Okay. All right. So this is the file upload utility. Okay. And yeah, so we can now upload files, which is awesome, right? Because we didn't have that. We didn't have that yet. And it's one of the features, I think, an important feature from Total CMS 1 that we need in Total CMS 3. Okay. Some behind the scenes features, as you saw, you could just drag and drop a file on here, just like you could. I mean, the UI is slightly different than Total CMS 1, but for the most part, it's very much the same. Okay. So yeah, drag and drop a file. Right now, I have this particular drop zone set to accept any file. Okay, so it'll just accept whatever file you want, and that'll just work. It'll upload. It does customize the icon based on the file type. As you saw, there's some bugs in there that I've already have an idea on how to fix that. So in the next beta, in future beta, it'll be fixed. Okay, but that's just an icon. Next up is if we go ahead and just like images, when you hover over it, you can kind of get a bunch of little actions that you can do. Okay. So if we go ahead and this edits, you can edit information about a file. And so this is info. This is the download name. So this is, if you ever noticed, you can actually define the name of a file when it's downloaded. So it's not forced to be the name that you upload. So if you want it to always be named, I don't know, sample.jpg, okay? When I download this image, it doesn't matter what the name of the file is that I upload. When I download it, it'll always be sample.jpg, right? Pretty cool. You can add some comments. You can add tags. Then you can protect it. We'll go over protection in a little bit. Okay, there's two ways to protect a file. And then here's just some metadata about it, right? So the original name of the file that was uploaded, the size, the download count. So if you have a file set to be downloaded, this will actually have a counter that tells you how many times a particular file has been downloaded. Okay, the mem type, and then the date the file was uploaded. Okay. Actually, if we refresh this now, we'll see that I should probably make it so if you change that name, it changes it here dynamically as well. Right. Minor thing, but all right. Next up is links. All right. So if we click on this, similar to the download links, although the download link for images is much more elaborate, right? UI. This gives us some download links that we can use, right? Just click on this button. It'll copy the actual download URL. Okay. Now, what's cool about Total CMS is it never links directly to a file because you can actually, I'm not going to dive into this, but you can have your Total CMS data. By default, it puts it at the root of your website, right? But you can actually move it outside so that none of the files are publicly accessible at all. Both are valid. Then we have a macro. So this is a macro that will essentially resolve the download URL. Okay, so if you wanted to, put a macro in let's say you wanted to put the download URL in a button. Okay, you could either copy the link or the macro. Both will work. Okay, again, the macro just resolves this link, so it's essentially the same thing. Okay. And then if you wanted to provide a URL to a file that has a password embedded in the link, you would type in your password. We can look at that in a little bit though. Okay. Then obviously we have the download button. So if I click on this download, it downloads the file. Okay. As you see down here in my browser, it downloaded that file. Now, my browser Arc tries to intelligently rename files for me. So it is named Total CMS form demo sample.jpg. Arc renamed that for me. Okay. I'm not going to go through a tangent. I don't know if I love or hate that feature. I don't know. I've been debating turning that feature off, to be honest with you. But anyway, all right. So that's the download button. Okay. And we'll go over protecting that in a little bit. Obviously, this is the button. Obviously, I think drag and drop on a desktop is easier. However, when you're on mobile or touch device, obviously drag and drop isn't there. So we have a little button here that you can click on that to actually upload something, right? So you can actually upload from any device. And then obviously we'll delete that file. Okay. So let's not do that now though. All right. So one of the cool features is now we're going to play around and show you what we can do with protecting a file or password protecting a file. So in here, we're going to go in and let's start with the password level. Okay. So I'm going to set in a password. I'm just going to use test. Okay. Test. And just like with the normal password field, you have to enter it in both times to make sure that it's the same. Just to show you if it's not, right, I'm going to make this one different. And then if I close, it's not going to save that. Okay. It's not going to work because they don't match. Okay. So make sure you type that in the same. And we're going to close that. Okay. So now I've set a password on that file. Okay. Which is cool. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this download URL button. Okay. And what this will do is if I click on that, you'll notice that it now, instead of downloading the file like it did earlier, okay, it's prompting me for a password. Okay. And if we type in the wrong password, we click download, okay, you'll notice that it says invalid password. Okay. So if I go ahead and type in the correct password, there it goes. Now the file is downloaded, right? Really cool. I love this interface. I think it is really, really awesome. Okay. So yeah, that is a nice interface. I think it gives a lovely interface for even end users. Like if you want to share a download, right? It gives a very minimalistic look. I think it's pretty good. All right. As of right now, here, let me go back to that page. Probably in the future, just like the login page for Total CMS, which allows you to add content above and below, I'll probably add similar functionality to this password page. Actually, in fact, let me make a little note of that so I can make sure I just get that done. And that way you can like add in, like, I don't know if you want a little logo up here to kind of brand or personalize this page a little bit. Obviously, Total CMS, it tries I try to have the best so that it has no design language, right? It's very minimalistic. It just kind of, so it can integrate well into almost any design. Okay. That's my goal with this, which is why there's like almost nothing here, right? So if I allow you to add a little bit of branding above and below, this would look at home in almost any web page, right? So yeah, that's my goal with Total CMS, is to not have a design language, hopefully. Okay. I know it's impossible. I mean, obviously, like this button has a design aesthetic, right? But yeah, There we go. All right, let's go back. Now I showed you, excuse me, I showed you earlier how we can copy a download file, right? If I were to copy this link, okay, and let's open up a new browser, paste that in there, right? Because there's a password, it's going to take me to the password page. But if I go ahead and type in my password, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to type in the wrong password here, right? So I typed in the wrong password, hit blop. And what it did is it said, hey, that password isn't correct. Okay, so you have to type in the correct password. And then, whoop. What you'll notice is now, once I do that, it has added passwords to both the link and to the macro. Okay, now this is an encrypted version of the password. Okay, so that it is not readable. You don't want to add a plain text password to the file. That's just not smart. Okay, so this is an encrypted string that Total CMS will be able to decrypt so that it can actually provide, validate the password that's stored in the CMS. Okay, so now what we'll see is I'm going to copy this link. Okay, and if I go open up a new browser and paste that in, what you'll notice is that file was immediately downloaded. It didn't take me to a password page, right? Pretty cool. I think all this, it seems simple, and that is the goal, hopefully. Hopefully it seems simple and just everything that you would want, right? This I think is a very powerful feature, so that if you want to share downloads to people, but protect the file. Now, obviously, this isn't going to stop someone from that you shared this link to share it with somebody else, right? That doesn't stop. However, we do have a way to stop that, okay? To some extent. And that is the second level of protection that we have here in Total CMS. Now, I'm currently running this in a dev environment, and I have logins disabled. So let me quickly load up a different website, okay? This is the demo site that's actually published, okay? And I'm gonna verify if we go into files now. Right, I have on my file, right? And all right. So in this case, okay, in this particular file, I don't have a password set, but I have protected by collection. Okay, set up. Now, what does that mean? Okay. What that means is I'm gonna go into the file collection, and we edit the collection. So if we look here, there is a new field inside collections called groups. Now, right now, the only thing that this does is provide groups that will protect files. Okay, so there will be other use cases for these groups in a collection in the future, but for right now, this is the only thing it's used for. So what I did, if you notice here, I have a group set to download. Okay, so basically, in order for anybody to download a file that is inside of this collection, they have to be logged in to Total CMS, and they have to be a part of the download group. Okay, so we have basically user access to files within a collection. Now, if you have no groups defined in a collection, it basically allows anybody who's logged in to access that file. Okay, so if you have no groups defined, you have to be logged in, but you don't have to be, it doesn't check that you're a part of any group. Okay, so that's a nice level of feature. So let's go ahead and add download back. Okay, and let's show you how that works. Now, let me see what user. Oh yeah, I'm currently logged in as the admin. So I'm going to log out of this account, because when you're logged in as you have God rights, right? So you have access to every file regardless. Okay, I have Joe Workman admin who is added to the admin group. When you add someone to the admin group, they essentially have God rights. They have access to everything in Total CMS. Okay. So that means they have access to every file, no matter whether or not, like for example, I don't need to add download to this group because I'm an admin. I get access regardless. Okay, just to let you know that. But if we go back here, let's go to Joe Helper. So here's the Joe Helper account. And if you see here, he's a part of the users and the download group. Okay. So I'm going to log out of my admin account. All right. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to log back in. We're going to log into support. All right. So now I am logged in as Joe Helper. Okay. And if I were to go to, let's just go into this file. Okay. And if I were to try to download this file, okay. Now I'm doing this through the admin interface, but this could be a link on the web page. Okay. It doesn't need to be on the admin in the admin interface. Let's say I had a download link on the homepage or anywhere within the website, right? I'm just kind of showing you this because this is the download URL. So here I'm going to click download now. Okay. What you'll notice is that file downloaded. Okay. Now, funny enough, this particular user also has access to this so I can modify myself. Normally, you're not going to want that, right? And actually, you can't do that right now. I'll add access that level later on, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to delete the download group from my user. Okay. So now I'm saved. Don't think I need to relog in. That's a, oops. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and just for fun, I'm gonna log out and log back in just to make sure because I think it was space test. All right, so oops, I want to go in this one, and now we're gonna go in. We're gonna go file. If I click on this download button now, oh, it's still what? Hold on, what happened there? Oh, it's still download. Interesting. Did I break something here? Uh-oh. Willis. File error. This site might be running an old version. Let me just republish it really quick. The demo gods. Oh boy. File. Republish all files. Let's see. This could have been the issue that that or I'll just force it. I'll just go into the CMS and change it myself. Interesting. I'm going to go in here. Just for fun, we're going to clear all the cache. Go into auth. I tested this yesterday morning, literally. Oops. What did I do? Oh, not sure I did. Save. That drives me bonkers sometimes. All right, refresh. It's still there. Okay. Well, that is a bug. I will have to look at that. So for fun, we're going to go ahead and not sure what I did there. Let's just go into this data, TCMS data, auth, support, just open. And we're going to go into groups. Oh, look at that. And this is what, okay. This is the bug. I see that this is a bug that Bill and Ben were having. There's multiple tags in there now. Interesting. All right. That is a bug. I'm going to delete all of those. All right. I will figure that out. That is not a cool one. I have no clue why that's doing what it was doing. All right. But Bill and Ben, I will get that fixed today. That's not a good bug. Okay. Bill and Ben, if you're here, I think Bill is at least. All right. So now if you see, okay, now I am no longer in the downloads group. Okay. So now if I go into that file and I try to download it, it's going to give me an access denied. Okay, because I do not have access to that file. And again, this doesn't need to be, and it sends me to the login page, see if I can log into a different account. Okay. But again, this, while I'm testing this in the admin area, this could be a download, link on the home page anywhere. Okay. Here, just to show you, if I go ahead and copy that link. Okay. And if I paste that in there, okay, so this could be a link anywhere. I have double slashes. It gives me the access denied, right? And then, it would redirect you back to the page you were on. So yeah, there we go. That is how protections work with passwords and user level access. I think it's super powerful. Okay. Especially that now, what happens if you are in a group? I'm going to go ahead and let's go back into auth and let's add download back. I have download back. Okay. Let's go back into the file. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add not only the protected collection, but I'm also going to add a password. Okay. So I'm going to add in a password. All right. So I added a password to that. And now if I click on this download button, what it does is it validates I'm logged in, and it validates that I'm a part of that user group. And then it actually then goes to a third level and validates that I actually need to type in the password. So it's kind of like if you add both, you kind of get 3 layers of protection. You're logged in, you're a part of a group, and you have to know the password. Okay. So at that point I can type in test and voila, it gets downloaded. Okay. So, yeah, lots of layers of protection there for files. Oh, and if we go ahead and look at this just to show you, you'll see that this file was downloaded 7 times now, right? Pretty cool. Yes. So that's a great question, Matthias. Matthias asked, does file upload support file chunking? Yes, it does. So you can upload extremely large files. Let me back up and tell you explain what file chunking is for those that don't know. Most hosts have an upload limit that you can have on files. Some it's, a lot of times it's 512 megabytes. Some hosts are chintzy and only give you 64 meg or something like that, right? But it's basically a limit on the size of the file that you can upload. So Total CMS 3 now supports file chunking. And what that means is it will upload a large file, let's say even a 2 gigabyte file, in small chunks over multiple connections. So on the server side, what I need to do is I need to be able to check that you're sending a lot of small chunks of a file, get them, reorder them, and put them and assemble those chunks into the finished file that gets uploaded. That way we can upload, again, files that are larger than what your host would normally allow. So file chunking is supported. It works in files and it will work in Depot. Okay. I have file chunking disabled right now on image uploads. The reason being, like for gallery, you want to be able to upload maybe multiple images at the same time. You can't have multiple file uploads and chunking going on, both enabled. So most of the time, you're not going to be uploading an image file that is larger than your host's limits, right? So, yeah, I disable chunking on image uploads, but image chunking is enabled by default on all file and Depot uploads. Okay. But what that means is it'll only upload one file at a time. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Yes, Depot will have the same file chunking features. Okay, so that is, I think that's all of the file upload stuff. Okay, now, one thing Matthias called me out on the community this morning was how can I add a file upload form to my custom admin area, right? So as you know, Total CMS has, while I think this pre-built admin area that I made is game changing, right? I think it's pretty amazing. Total CMS does have the ability to still create your own admin area. Okay, so if we go to this, we have our own custom admin areas. This is still a feature of Total CMS, right? And I think a very important one. Okay. However, I do have to admit, I was thinking about this last night. I was like, I'm really, really, really happy that sorry if you hear that. My gardener's here and my dogs are going absolutely ballistic. So sorry about that. Okay, sorry. Lost my train of thought. Oh yeah. I am super glad that I developed the manual admin area first before I designed this admin area. Okay. And the reason being is I really, really like this admin area. And had I built this first, I probably would have delayed the custom stuff for the future. So I'm really glad I built the custom stuff first because it forced me to kind of do it. And it was nice. It did give me, it was a nice transition because I didn't need to, we could get going faster with what we already knew about Total CMS 1. Okay. So anyway, a little side note there. But okay, right now I don't have a file upload stack. However, okay, Matthias, let me show you a little trick. If you want to have a file upload form here, you can. Okay. And let me show you how you can do that. So what we want is, so if you didn't know, when you build out these admin areas, okay, all the stack is doing is actually adding in a macro to the page. And that macro expands out and builds all of this. So all of the admin area actually gets built by Total CMS, which is pretty slick, right? So let me go ahead. We're going to peek behind the curtains a little bit. Let me go ahead and 1 second. Oh, that's not there. Let me go into not test. Public. There it is. Tests. File. All right. So here is a macro. Okay. So we're on this admin page. Let's say I want to add a file upload right above this image. Okay. So what we're going to do is right below that save. Yeah, right below that save. All right. So I'm going to add in an HTML stack in here. Again, I will in the next beta, I'll have a file upload stack. But I know Matthias wanted it on his custom admin page, and I totally flaked and forgot to build a stack for it. Okay. So but let's do this now. Let's just go ahead and add an HTML stack right there. Okay. And what I can do is I'm going to paste that in. Okay. And if you want to see, there it is. Oh, Jesus. These alerts in Mac OS are driving me bonkers. Okay. cms.form.file, and then the ID of your file. So this is CMS form file, my file. Okay. And we're just going to say that. And if we go ahead and preview this page, actually, I'm just going to publish this so we have it. I already have it here. Voila. There we have it. Okay. So here, I will put this syntax in the chat for you guys, just so you guys have that in the chat. Okay, did that go? There we go. All right. And there we go. That macro just resolves that. Pretty slick, right? Yeah, there's a little peek behind the curtains that even all of this, the admin areas are just built with other macros. Okay, which is pretty cool. So there we go. And as you see, you have all the same functionality of what I just showed. Okay, so the download, the file info, the protection, all that jazz. It's all here. Pretty cool. Okay, there we go. And then on the file download side, right here, let's say I wanted to have a download link. Okay, so on this side, so let's just go ahead and we're going to go into here. Oops, not into there. All right, I added it to my main admin page. Okay, so we can go into here, and I could just copy this macro, and we're going to put that inside of a button right on the home page. So here we go. We'll just put it. I'll put it above this image. Why not? Okay. So we're just going to have a link button, and I'm just going to put in download file. Okay. And we're going to edit the link. I'm going to paste in that macro. Okay. And that should do it. Let's publish that. Again, the download link versus the macro, it's kind of the same thing. I would kind of future-proof yourself and use the macro so that, you know, if any features were added, it's kind of handled for you, right? I think that's just a smart way to go. Okay. But anyway, let's go back to the homepage of the site now. Let's just go ahead and here. Need to make it. I'm not going to try to debug what's going on there. We'll just chuck that into a container so it's on a new line. There we go. So now I have a download file button, right? And if I click on that, now this file is password protected, so I need to type in that password. Download. And maybe I should add some sort of, if it successfully download, redirect you back to the page you were on. It's probably a good idea. Let me make a note of that. Okay, I like that idea. Hopefully you guys agree with that, right? If you click download, you got to enter in your password, and if it successfully downloads, now I guess one thing you could do is, hold on, if we go ahead and make this one open in a new tab, right? So we open that in a new tab. Okay, and here, let's just simple container. We have no gutter. All right, so now if I refresh, this is going to open up in a new tab now. So that new tab will go, and then we'll do test, and then it downloads, and I don't know if it would auto close. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts about that on the community or in the chat here. What should be the workflow after you type in the password and it successfully downloads? Interesting idea. Anyway, okay. All right, now I think we're done with file. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and here, let's go back to the community. Let's look at some other features just to remind myself. Okay, let's go back. All right, so now in the in schemas, I've added a few things to schemas now. And if we look here, let's find, all right, here's a good example blog, okay? What you'll notice is there could potentially be two icons now when you're editing a schema or adding a schema, okay? You'll notice that, for example, here we have updated and created fields. Now, those are date fields, however, they are hidden, okay? So when the form field and the type of data that is stored in the CMS for that field don't have like a one-to-one relation. For example, checkbox, a draft is a checkbox. that is stored as a Boolean true false value in the CMS, right? So that matches. So instead of showing you 2 checkbox icons, it just shows you 1. Same thing for ID. There's an ID field and it's stored as an ID in the CMS, right? Title is text, it's stored as text, right? So I don't want to show 2 icons when it's purely logically the same data, okay? Now here, actually, I thought I fixed that. Style text, it says it's stored as text. I thought I fixed that. I'll have a look at that. This T shouldn't be showing here. I'm wondering if it's a cache issue here. Let's do view. Let's clear cache and refresh. Oh, it was a cache issue, right? So, yeah. But here, down here, updated and created are hidden fields, okay? But the data within them is a date. So if these were actually date fields, it would just show the calendar field, just like this one does, okay? But here, the form field is different. It's a hidden form field. So it wants to show you both so that you kind of, at a glance, get an idea of how the form and the data types are matching up, okay? So a nice little addition. It took me a while to come up with some decent UI for that because having 2 icons there just didn't make sense, okay? So hopefully, if you have any feedback on that, let me know. Next up is we've discovered that when you have a property that has a dash in the name, okay, it makes it very difficult in Twig to access the data from that property, okay? However, underscores work beautifully. Therefore, when you try to add a field, let's say just test-data or test-date or whatever, okay? If you notice, I have a dash here, okay? And when I tabbed out of that field, you'll notice that it automatically converted the dash to an underscore, okay? This is done intentionally, okay? To save your brains from breaking later on when you try to access the data because it has a dash in it, okay? So yeah, there we go. I'm just saving us from ourselves. It's possible to have a dash, but it makes the Twig syntax very ugly, okay? So yeah, we're going to just force that on people to save you from having headaches in the future. Okay. So that had to do there. Those are the 2 things with schemas. Okay. So Bill Burden, if you notice, or let's go to the docs and we go into filters. And we have, okay. So we have, there are a couple of Twig filters that you can use. And let's just show you some examples of what you can do with that. Here, let me just create a new window here. All right, just so that it is nice and big, okay? And let's say we were trying to access, let's make that nice and big text, okay? We're trying to access the post summary. Okay, so it'd be post.summary, okay? And obviously this is going to output the summary from a blog post, okay? But let's say we only wanted the last, or the first 20 character, or the first 20 words, or the first 20 characters. You can either do truncate or truncate words, okay? So what you could do is you could be like pipe truncate, if I could spell, and you can be like 160, okay? Maybe this is for our SEO. Maybe when we wanted to put the summary in our meta tag descriptions, and meta tags kind of, you want to stick around 160. It doesn't hurt too bad if you go a little bit more than that, right? But we definitely want to cause it to shrink down. So what truncate 160 will do is this will analyze the data, and this will only give you 160 characters, the first 160 characters from the summary. Okay. Now, what this bug fix does is, if you're using style text for the summary, a lot of times there's HTML in that. And what truncate will now do is it will actually strip all the HTML then give you the first X number of characters. Okay. And the same thing for words. So if I did truncate words and I want, I don't know, 50, okay, this will give me the first 50 words. But what truncate will do is we'll actually strip the HTML from the summary if it's there first, so that we can actually don't break our page, because that is not a good thing. And yeah, so there we go. That's what truncate does. Okay. If you're familiar, there's a lot of cool little nice little filters that Total CMS has on top of Twig. So Twig has a lot of great syntax and filters and helpers. These are stuff that I've developed to help us out above and beyond what Twig does out of the box. Okay, there's quite a bit here. There's actually probably some more that I need to review the code and maybe add here to the documentation. All right. So that was truncate. Oops. Okay, next up is list types. Okay. So inside of the admin area, where's a good example of where I'm doing this? I don't remember now. I was doing this. Shit, where was I doing this yesterday? Oh, well, we'll just do it in a blog. Okay, just to kind of show you. If you notice, we have Total CMS has the ability to have like tags. Okay, and by default, whatever tag, the order that you add these tags in is the order that they're saved in the CMS. Okay. Now, normally the order of the tags don't matter. One place that it does matter is when you're creating a schema. The order of these fields here in the schema will actually dictate the order of the fields here. Okay. So pretty cool. Okay. So, but let's show you what we can do here. Is let's say I wanted to, in the form, when I'm creating tags, if you notice, these are alphabetized. Okay. Now, if I go into this collection and I go into the tags field and I go into options, now this says property options to true. There's a lot of options that you can add here, and I've added some of those into the documentation. But what I now have the ability to do is you can do sort options, and it'll always sort those alphabetically. Now it just happens I had property options true, which also sorts alphabetically. Okay, but by default they'll just show up as they're shown. Okay, but yeah, if you want to make sure that particular options in a drop-down menu in your form are sorted alphabetically, you would use that option. Definitely a very edge case solution, something that I needed for something, so I added that. Okay. Oh, here's actually a really cool one. Okay, for photographers. So this one's speaking to you, Wolf. Okay, is if we go to image. Okay, if you notice there's lots of EXIF information here available. And what you'll notice is I've added 4 new fields under location for country, state or province, city, and sublocation. Okay. These work, I think if we go to this one, let's go to another page that I was testing this image.php. Okay, let me add another image to here. Not this one. The one that I know has some metadata. Where is the Golden Gate Bridge photo? There it is. Drag that in there. Oh, max image. Oh, shoot, of course. I was playing with the max image settings in there. All right, let's just go back to here. I'm going to upload that into there. Although this is an existing image, so let's see if that will actually work. Let's see. I'm going to add that into there. All right. So upload into here, we go into location, and this particular one only had the country, okay? But it does extract this information from the metadata. I had it saved somewhere else with all 4 locations set. I think it was a different image rather than the one in my toolbar here. But yeah, just to let you know, we do have 4 new location settings. And when you upload the image, it will extract that data from the EXIF information. And then obviously, if it's not there, you can edit this and save it directly in the CMS as well. So again, country, state, city, and sublocation. Okay. So there we go. I'm not going to go over every single one of these things. With date fields now, this is for Ben was having an issue with this. When you have a date field set to, here, let's go back to blog. Okay. So like when you have a date field here, and you save a particular date, if you notice, this is a date, not a date and time. Okay. There was some issues with time zones and it actually displaying the wrong date because based on the time zone it was set on, because it was saving it as midnight on, in this case, July 16th, 1976. It would save it as midnight, but based on the location of the user, it could show up as the day previous because of the time zone location and how the time zones were set. Okay. So that's been fixed. Okay. However, it's kind of a fix going forward. It won't retrofit any dates that have already been saved into the CMS. You would need to actually resave those dates again. So you can just open up the blog and then just resave it. You don't need to change anything. I don't think you would have to rechange anything. That's a good question. I don't think so though. So there's that. That was a good fix. So thanks, Ben, for that. It was a kind of a tricky one to solve. Style text. So we have some more options. If you notice the style text editor, before we had bold and italic, I've added a few more options in here. And this actually is customizable for you for right now. I haven't documented any of it yet. Okay. So it's definitely tricky. Okay. But let's say if you were to go, actually, you know what? I'm not even going to show you how you could do it now because it's very technical to customize this toolbar. If you want to know, I can kind of show you. Maybe you can come to the Hangout on Friday and we can play around. Okay, but I'll try to make that more user friendly and fully documented so that you can customize these on a per instance basis. So if you want toolbar buttons here and you wanted this one to have toolbars but completely different ones, you can do that on a per field basis, which would be really nice. Okay. Okay. And Bill Burden, I fixed your sessions issue so that Agent Lang and Total CMS can be on the same page now. Okay. So that is all of beta 11. It took me longer than I thought to go through all of that. Hopefully you guys learned. Let me see if there's any more questions. Should there not be a warning that the conversion took place when you reference the item later and type test data? You didn't notice it converted it to, no, because it does it when you create the field. So when you create the field, it did it immediately. So hopefully you'll notice that. Okay. And just something that you know now. Okay. I don't like popping up a warning, when something is done. Hopefully you should see that happen. Okay. I think it's just a learning curve sort of thing. Oh, and that was Sean that put in there. Yeah. I don't know. I'll think about it. You can probably convince me. If anyone else thinks a warning should go into that. And what he's talking about is when I went into here and added a new field, right? Added a new field and it was hello dash there. And I hit enter and that little kind of change happened. Okay. So yeah. Okay. I want to show you one small thing that isn't Total CMS 3 related that I made a change this morning. I just kind of had an epiphany moment. And it has to do with Foundation 6. Okay. and swatches. And I'm just going to add in, it doesn't really matter what swatch I add in here. Okay. I just changed the label of a setting. And I think it's a minor change, but I think it's one that makes complete sense. And I wish I thought about it earlier. So inside border, this is the border swatch. You know, these top two sections in a swatch are mostly the same across all swatches. Okay. And if you notice this optional conditions, this second dropdown used to be called, or it currently is called in your machine, pseudo state. And that made sense for the options that were in this dropdown when Foundation 6 first got released. However, there's a lot of stuff in here now that, and I think the word pseudo state, it doesn't really make sense. And it confuses a lot of people that really don't know what a pseudo element is, right? Which is primarily what this was used for at first. But now it's used for all sorts of things like, selecting child elements or descendants or hover states. There's all kinds of stuff, right? And so I decided to change this from being pseudo state to selector add-on, because it gives you the ability to add on to your selector. Okay. So you can add various things like hover. And I just think, again, it's just changing the label of the setting. I also did update the tooltip to kind of portray what this is in a more human readable function. So yeah, I think I'm going to release this as an update today, because I think it's going to be a good one. I think it will, there are a lot of new users coming over to Foundation 6, or new again users, right? They're born again Foundation 6 users. Okay. That was bad. Okay. So yeah, a lot of users came from Foundry, and because Foundry is closing down, they're coming over to Foundation 6 and they're learning swatches again. And so I'm getting a lot of questions again, like, I don't understand this, and stuff that, experienced users, they just know, right? And so I thought selector add-on was just a more approachable option for that setting. So anyway, that's probably something that coming later today. Again, super minor change, but I think it'll be a nice breath of fresh air. However, all the past videos that I have for Foundation all say pseudo state. Again, the setting doesn't change at all. It's just the label. Okay, so there we go. Should a dash be avoided in the ID field? You know what? That is the dashes are only in the name of the field, not in the value of the field. So you can have dashes in your field ID, okay? But it's just the name of the properties can't have a dash. Hopefully that makes sense. So you can have dashes, again, in your blog post IDs, you can have dashes. It's just the names of the properties that dashes are a pain. Okay, let me show you why. Okay, let's take for example, what's something that would be a good dash? I don't know. Let's do export dash date. Okay, let's say I have a field called export date. Okay, and you would think I could do object dot export dash date. Okay. You would think that would work because I made my field export dash date, and it's just, if I want to access it from my object, it's just object.export.date dash date. That will not work. Okay. In order to get this to work, you would need to do this, right? So you would do object, and then you would do, I'm pretty sure this is the syntax. Right? You need to do that. And that just, it's not intuitive. Okay. However, if we used an underscore instead, then I could just do object.export_date. Right? So as you see, this syntax is much nicer than that syntax. Okay. And so, yeah, it was just easier to, again, this has nothing to do with the values inside of your data. This is just the name of your properties themselves. Okay. So yeah, I don't want all the support and the confusion of having a dash and you have to change your syntax. I'm just saving you from yourself for yourself by replacing that underscore with it, or that dash with an underscore for the future. Okay. Good question, Matthias. Okay. I think that about does it, guys. I'm hungry. I needed some water. Needed water since I started. Oh, I still have some coffee. That's got water in it, right? Okay. Thank you very much, guys. I'm loving Total CMS 3. I think it's awesome. Hopefully you guys are using it. Please go ahead and start banging at it if you haven't. That issue with the tags today, I will fix that out and get a bug fix released when you're saving tags. Okay. No clue what's causing that. It's a very strange one, but I will solve it and we'll get her fixed. Okay. So thank you very much, everybody. If I don't see you on Friday, we'll see you next week at the next week's live stream. But come on Friday. Really super awesome. A lot of fun. It's 1 hour from right now. Oh, and time does change for me this weekend. So next week, we're back on track for all our normal times. Okay. So just let everybody know, because I know I saw in the chat that some people showed up an hour late because, or they showed up a little bit late because of the time change. My time hasn't changed here, but I know a lot of Europe has. So there we go. I changed this weekend. Next week, we're kind of back on schedule. Okay. Thanks, guys. Have a wonderful